Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Breakthrough Principles. I have a very interesting guest. He's my friend for a few years now. We actually met through my journey of trading, and this individual has taught me a lot, not just in trading world, but also in life in general. Gave me so many advice. To a certain extent, I consider him like a mentor. And I just, wanted him to be on this podcast so he could bring up a lot of gems that could help you out, that has already helped me out as well, and just here to let him, spit out his gems. So, would you guys, give a round of applause to my boy, Anthony? What's up, bro? Hey.
You like that entrance?
What's up, bro? Yeah, hey, that's just classic, man. That's just classic. Love the fans.
Well, it's old school transition in real life. What's
What's
going
up, my
on?
bro? How are you? How's everything?
I'm very well. Life is great.
Awesome. Love to hear that, man. Was gonna say,
Excited to
so
be
yeah, man.
on.
Thank you
That's
for
quite
doing
the
this, man.
it's quite the
I
intro.
know. I appreciate that, man. Thank you again for doing this, man. I know a lot of people could bring a lot of value from all the experiences that you had and things that you've done with your life. It definitely helped me a lot and inspired me a lot, man. And I just not just because you're my friend, but I really appreciate you
That's
for being my friend,
flattering.
actually.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, you go to introduce yourself, man. Let the people know who you are, where you live, and what is it
Sure.
that you do, man.
My name's Anthony, aka MightyFine on the internet. I'm just a kid who's fucking grinded really hard. And I've really tried to. You might have censored that. I don't know how explicit we can be on this thing. I've grinded really hard. I push. I've invested in a couple of businesses. I've got about 210 acres of real estate currently, agricultural land. Yeah. Crypto investment, traditional investment, and dividend providing equities and ETFs. I trade. Just doing my own thing. I don't ever want to work a 9 to 5 ever in my entire life if I don't have to, and so that's been my guiding principle on the grind, and it's worked out pretty good.
Awesome, man. Seems like you're like a jack of all trades, man. That's awesome.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's just about having fun and exploring, right?
I
Freedom.
got you. What made you start in the first place? Because obviously there's a lot of things that you do. I know it's probably gonna take some time.
Yeah, so I started actually in the legal, well, pseudo legal cannabis business in Washington State. It was a gray area, and it was called medical marijuana at that time. You had paperwork or whatever. But I started in that, and then it transitioned into the legal side of things. And I helped work with a shop in downtown over here, and that was fun. Really successful. Learned a lot. Had like 40 plus employees. Ran a multi-million-dollar business. Super fun. Around that time, we're waiting for crypto to kind of pop, and nobody really knew what was up. But when it started to take off, it allowed me to adventure into, other things. And from there, it just kind of splintered and yeah.
Awesome. Well, what year was this when you first started stepping into the entrepreneurial world and getting onto all these things?
I mean, 2011, really. 2012 was when we first kind of got into it. And that was kind of in college at that point, running small businesses. Like I said, this is going to sound weird because it's not legal a lot of places, but in the medical cannabis, industry, it was very guerrilla, very, very, it still felt black market. So like, in college, we had 2 houses that we rented out and just had full plants to provide for these like actual dispensaries and shops and shit, but we couldn't get warehouse space. So like, it started there. It started really brass tacks. Like you're paying rent on 2 places, hoping that nobody finds out. Like,
damn,
yeah, right. Yeah. And then it transitioned into
balls,
legal, and I got on a team of somebody that, had the paperwork, and I brought the business side of things and sort of the vision of it. And yeah. And then worked as their COO and CTO, and it was really fun.
Damn, that's awesome. I didn't even, me personally, I didn't even know that. That's fucking amazing, actually, man. It takes some cojones to do that, man.
Yeah, you got to stay kind of quiet about it, but it's okay. Yeah, true. Because the world's changed.
It's good. So. Exactly. It's legal now too. So I mean, where you're at, so it's awesome. Do you by any chance come from like entrepreneurial background, entrepreneurial family, or is just a normal like how most people like myself like working 9 to 5, my parents working at 5, and we kind of like figure our way out,
My grandfather's a dairy farmer. I grew up around farm life, and then my mom was a ER nurse, and she worked nights. So in terms of the guidance of it, not really. People that I've come across though, have been, a massive resource. And I think that kind of highlights something important too, is that you need to lean on people and lean on your network and your resources around you, because you can gain a lot by being surrounded by dope shit.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like, and it doesn't matter where you came from. It matters where you're at right now and how you're getting to the next place. And that's it. Right. I didn't really
Awesome.
have
So,
anybody. My dad did sales type shit, but I wouldn't really say he was like a guiding principle in my entrepreneurial business. We don't talk about that shit. So
yeah, of course. So you kind of like guided your way through by your connections, talking to people, your
dude,
network
I
and stuff
got
like
I got
that.
through this by stubbing my toes and kicking the
Getting in
invisible
the
coffee
dirt,
table, right? Yeah,
getting in the
like
dirt,
by
man, getting in the
failing.
dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what made you transition after? Because you say you started off with the cannabis business and get into that. That was I'm assuming that's like the first thing you ever got into.
Yeah,
When it comes to
yeah. In terms
entrepreneurship.
in terms of business, side things. I was at first I wanted to go and do some sort of like commercial design work. I like to make art. I'm a left brain and right brain type person, and that shit doesn't really pay that well, and it's very difficult to break into without a lot of connection and money. So I kind of just pivoted, right? And I was like, well, we need to make money, and hey, this shit's legal.
Yeah.
It's lucrative and kind of gray area. Like, okay, can we build a team? And that was when we were like, oh, this could be a business. Like, this isn't
I
this
got
isn't
you.
a bunch of stoners growing plants in a house anymore. Like, we actually sell this, pay taxes and shit. Like, this is crazy. It was
It's
it
like an
was it
actual
was it
business,
was
as
eye
opposed
opening. Yeah,
to
well, because it sounds like, oh, that's illegal, but like, you really had to run that shit like a business. You
no,
had to have
of course.
clean books, you had to have good processes, you had to have quality control. Like, it's wild. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because I was gonna say a lot of people get the misconception of like, oh, you do cannabis, they already label as potheads, they just to judge. I don't know, people in this culture, or
Yeah,
not culture, but people
that's
like to
fine.
judge, and it's
Well, I
like, bro,
mean,
but
we all have our
go ahead.
vices, right? Whatever.
Mhm.
Like, who are you to judge? As long as you're not doing something that's detrimental to other people, or you're limiting your potential in life. Like, if that thing is limiting your potential in life, then you probably shouldn't do it. There you go. And that goes with anything. Like, if you're like addicted to Pilates or
Yeah,
some weird shit, like, if Pilates are limiting your life, then you probably should lay off of that. Right? If
yeah,
peanut
you're
butter jelly
fine.
sandwiches are making you fat, you should probably stop eating the fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, makes
But
sense, makes sense. How long were you into the cannabis business? Like
uh
when you first started?
I think I was in total for like 7.5 years, something like
Jesus,
that.
pretty long
Yeah.
time. I lie. That's more than me trading.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And like what after the cannabis business, where is it that you transitioned after that?
I kind of had that industry is very interesting.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of what's a nice way to say this, filtering of individuals in that industry. Anybody can get
Shady,
in, shady motherfuckers.
shady, yeah.
Yeah. And I dealt with a little bit of that towards the end of my experience, and I said, you know what, we've got some money to play with. Investments that I made before were maturing at that point, and I didn't really know what was coming up with Bitcoin, and Ether and Litecoin at that point, XRP as well. That was when it mooned at 3. Um, you know, yeah. So I took some of my money, and I just kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do after that. It wasn't a period of like boom, 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 like, oh yeah, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. It was a period of like,
Mhm.
okay, I did all this shit. Now I got to figure it out, do some planning, be smart about this, and then move in. And then I started working at a startup that did marketing materials around the cannabis industry, just because I had a lot of connections. And I just, that's when I came to realize, like, all right, my investment portfolio is doing really well. I can work for myself. I can create income other ways. I have this income to invest. I don't need to work here anymore. Like,
Okay.
nothing
So
but
it's like
love, but like,
deuces, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go find
yeah,
something else.
yeah.
I'm gonna go to the
I
next
gave him,
level.
I gave him 2 weeks, and I was like, look, you guys are my friends. They were my friends, still are good guys.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
I can't do this anymore. It's time to, I felt that like fire where I was like, all right, yeah, it's time to go do my thing.
Yeah, man, I
Right.
feel like there's a time and place for everything, and like I feel like you yourself notices it's like, okay, I did my part on this chapter. I guess, on my life that I did, and we saw some success, and now it's time for me to take it to the next level. For you, in this sense, after the cannabis, what was that next level now after that? You said you went to a
I mean,
startup, you went to a startup,
sure.
you
It's just been active investing really and getting into trading. And, at first I didn't really know. I think everybody sees trading, whatever it is, options or dividend investing or Forex or whatever, cryptos, anything, right? They see it as initially, I think they see it as a get rich fast, if not quick, type situation. And I think that's a really big misconception. But, heading into it, I was like, oh, look at this. That can't be this fucking hard. These guys make it look easy. Right.
Yeah.
When you get the
social media,
the super gurus or whatever, and they sell you the dream, not to point any fingers, but you know who you are. And then the struggle kind of started. And I think honestly, like at that point I had invested in 3 businesses and I had a pretty good portfolio. I had started to secure some real estate as well. That was getting into trading was the first time that I was really frustrated because it was hard. I mean, it's fucking hard.
Yeah, I feel like I have my own business now as myself, but I wish I would have had a business before trading. You had the business experience before trading, but trading is a business, but it's completely different from what you did. You get me? Like you have employees, you have physical things, you have other things to worry about, research and things. Trading is just you're your own business type thing. You trade, you buy, sell, things like that.
You're the only accountability system. You have to hold yourself accountable. You're the only responsibility person, right? You're the boss and the employee. And like, unless you treat it like a business, you're not going to get the results that you want. And
you gotta learn that piece of advice. Did you get that before you started trading or while you were trading, where you're like, okay, I gotta treat this shit like a business? Because like most people, like you said, this just has to be easy. Everybody's doing it, things like that.
I knew that coming into it. Like we took something that was very clandestine and recreational, getting stoned with your friends, and made it into a $7.4 million annual return business.
Ooh, congrats,
congrats. Yeah. And it's not like that went into my pocket. There's a shit ton of operating costs and taxes and all that kind of stuff. There's multiple partners, but the important part is that we were moving volume of product. No matter what, if it was rubber duckies, we were moving a shit ton of rubber duckies. Like we were sending those things. So yeah, I think I kind of already knew that. Duran reinforced for sure the importance that, or at least the idea that, really be a professional about this, really dive into it. And I think I leaned on him on sort of the psychological framing side of things a lot initially, and just talking to him early on and bouncing ideas off of each other. And you got to treat it like a business, and if you don't, you're going to get mediocre results. And I think that goes with anything, right? Apply yourself. Like my grandfather is an awesome dude. He's a salt of the earth, tough dude. Still, I think he's been farming for like 65 years. Still to this day, wakes up in the morning and goes and rides on a tractor and does the shit crazy. Doesn't need to, but hey, good for him. He says, if you're going to be an ass, be a whole ass, not a half ass.
Yeah.
And give it, do it. Like fucking do it. If you're going to even think about putting your time towards something, do it and give it your all. And if it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. That's fine. It's okay. But you're right. At least not some comments on Instagram or some post on Reddit or what your auntie or your cousin says about X, Y, or him or her. Like you tried it, you gave it your all, if the juice is worth the squeeze. And like, yeah, you gotta really do it.
So basically what you also what I'm getting it from what you just told me, basically having a mentor is really good when it comes to things like this, because you say you were getting really frustrated when it came to trading, things like that, and obviously in the cannabis business that you started, and you were part of and stuff like that. Do you think having a mentor definitely will help a lot, like a lot of people when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to trading or starting their own business? Or you just tell people to just try it out to see, just go like in the dark with nothing,
I have had experiences on both sides of the aisle, right? no matter what I was trying to say is, no matter what, whether you have a mentor or you don't, whether you have guidance or an idea of what you're doing, do it, right? Like get in there and really experience it and live whatever it is. If you want to be a chef, live that, right? If you, whatever it is, like go do that thing. Now, when it comes to having some guidance around those things, let's take being a chef, for example.
Yeah.
We can go and taste things and smell things and experience cooking in a kitchen. But if we want to make a beautiful French pastry, we probably need to figure out how to do that from somebody who knows how to make a beautiful French pastry, right? Like for the very specific technical aspects of certain things, I think that guidance and mentorship in that regard is really important. And to be totally fair to everybody, this is coming from somebody who was in a mentor space for a couple of years. I've kind of like recently stepped back from that, but you know, I actively have a lot of people that I talk to and kind of guide. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that everybody should go get a mentor for everything that they do. Go figure it out. You know, I'll talk about this in a second, but fail by yourself and get comfortable with failure and figure out how to implement that in your process of evolution. And no matter whether you have guidance or not, like give it that all, figure it out, live it, experience it, fuck up, fix it, get better. Right. I have had a mentor from early on, multiple people. I'd say that Duran Carter FX is the one that really opened my eyes to a different perspective on the markets. But even after that, I still had to put in a significant amount of work. And I think that he and I have diverged in our technical approach to trading, for example. But from a psychological stance, we haven't at all. Right. It's still about the entrepreneurial mindset of like, let's treat this like a business. Let's give it our all. Let's be disciplined. Let's be dedicated. Let's get some results, have something measurable, and then come back and figure out where we're at, keep going, evolve. Right.
Yes. That's definitely a good key that you said, because I feel like a lot of people are scared to fail, you know, like a lot of people could try, but I think what holds them back is like, what if this doesn't work? What if it's not expected? What if I don't get, like, I guess like people have expectations, and if they don't meet it right away or a timeline, it really hurts their ego, or really hurts themselves, that they're like, you know what, let me go back to the right race, or like those things like that.
Yeah. You know, well, I mean, I think that everybody frames that for themselves, right? They put those blinders on themselves, right? You put yourself in a box. Don't do that.
Exactly. Right. So with that, right, because a lot of people are scared to fail like that. From your experiences, like, what were some obstacles that you face coming through all these things? You know, because like, you know, it's when somebody like we tell a story, it will be like, okay, you know, now we're here, but it's like, wait, let me also talk about like what you guys don't see behind the scenes, what people don't see through our story. Because everybody, you know, like on Instagram, it's like a highlight reel, but they don't see the behind the scenes. And this happened to me before this happened, you know, things like that. So what were some obstacles that you faced as an entrepreneur?
I think that, again, I'm kind of just speaking as a trader right now, because
it's fine.
Yeah. And I think that these ideas apply to everything for those of you that are watching this. When you fail, don't beat yourself up. It's about how you pivot. And there's always these cliches, right, in all these things that we do. And they're cheesy. You know, turn your losses into lessons, for example. I agree with that, though. I really do. As cliche as that is, like, I really do agree with if you can pivot your failures, you know, early on. Like, for example, I was building out a retail business, and I had to figure out how to train 40 different people in, you know, different moving parts of this business to do different things, to cohesively run 7 days a week, 364 days a year, from 8 a.m. to 12 to midnight. I had to staff that and run it and get all the products in and figure out the technological systems. You're going to feel burdened. But if you can make a good plan, a sensible plan, and really make like a thumbnail, you know, when you're on your computer and you're looking at all your pictures, if you can make thumbnails of the processes and be really organized in how you approach things as an entrepreneur, you'll prepare yourself for success, right? Like, if you approach these things in a methodical way versus just kind of like a throwing shit at the wall way, you're going to see better results. And that's something that I think if you haven't lived that, you still understand that, but you may not feel that until you fuck it up. Like you're gonna, you know what
Experience.
I mean? Right.
You have to experience it, then go further, you know. Like, so,
For
not
example,
unfortunately, but fortunately. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. For example, you know, in what we do now, right? Like you need to be really disciplined. And I think that discipline, you know, in any, and that's what we're talking about, right? Is integrating failure, accepting failure, knowing what you have to do, being methodical, being organized, all these things, right? It's all about discipline, staying disciplined as a person. If it's okay to go and play Call of Duty for 8 hours if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
who am I to judge? As long as
Exactly.
you feel as though you have gotten enough done today, this week, this month, this year, this quarter, whatever it is, right? As long as you feel sufficed and you're meeting those goals, like stay disciplined, have a routine. Gian works out. Look at those pipes, right? Yeah, yeah.
Trying to the vegan life.
Jokes. Yeah, I know, right? Weird ass. We switched. I had a great A5YU steak with some foie gras on it last night. It was really good. Anyways, but stay disciplined, right? And whatever it is, whether it's your diet or whether it's your workout routine or just your daily grind, like be a machine. You gotta cut that weak shit out. I'm not saying like be some fucking alpha Chad, but like
no, of course. Stop making excuses, man. Just
be the boss.
Getting the
Right. If you want to be the boss, be the boss. But like, don't be don't half-ass it. Like, you know what I mean? There's just, yeah, you need to stay disciplined. And I think your discipline, your routine and your discipline really matters. So set yourself up for success. If you feel like you're a really anxious person, don't do something before you start your day that heightens that anxiety, right? Do something relaxing or, you know, whatever it might be. Like if you like to work out in the morning, I like to work out pretty much as soon as I wake up and then start my day. And that helps me feel centered, and I like to meditate. You know, these are all kind of cliche things that we hear on the interwebs, but they really do help. Figure out your sauce, figure out your approach, your secret sauce, and apply it consistently.
I feel like a lot of things will help because I think I read a quote that was like the true definition of success is moving from failure to failure without losing any lack of enthusiasm, right? So because a lot of people, like you said, like they have a lot of failures and they're like that discipline just kind of, a lot of people just throw out the window, you know, because a lot of people, it's a new business venture, you become a trader, it's your first time becoming a trader, your first time
or any
into
business.
this business. So in any business, you come into, you know, like I don't know, any rental business, whatever it is, right? You come to any business, like, okay, you're excited, you're disciplined as well. But then when you don't see the results, you're like, kind of the discipline starts to slow down, like, you know, like that, sorry, die down, you know, they'll become like, okay, I want to do it no more, you know?
They get complacent, right? Like, if I had to, you know, dude with a sign.
Yeah, the guy that just says, it's funny actually.
Mine would just be stop settling. Like stop settling for the middle. Stop being okay and complacent with mediocrity. Like you're literally you're accepting failure, right? Here's one person that scares the shit out of me in this world. Anybody that says it is what it is, because you are actively accepting that you have no control over the outcome of your life. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
It is what it is. Get the fuck away from me. You're infected. You know what I mean?
Like it is
that
what
mindset
it is.
terrible.
Shit happens. Shit happens for a reason.
Shit does happen. Life happens, right?
Absolutely.
But it comes back to how do you deal with it, right? And failing and taking that L and pivoting. Like and I suggest this book, if you haven't read it, everybody watching, Principles by Ray Dalio. It's a great book. Skip the whole first chapter. Yeah, it's a fucking great book. Skip the whole first chapter. You don't necessarily need that preface on him. Get into the second chapter. It's the meat of it. There's this little diagram. It's a squiggle, and then maybe you can find it, but it looks like a little kind of a pigtail pointing up. He talks about something really, really important in this section, and that's failure and how you integrate that into your process. And his principles, and I don't want to butcher it, so go read it for yourself, but it's something along the lines of like fail often and fail forward. And I love that because you want to fail fast You want to not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily fail often, I guess, but fail fast, fail forward. I believe that's it. Fail fast.
Okay.
Know when to cut bait. Know when it's an L, and don't ride it out into something that is horrible for you. And when you do fail, instead of making your trajectory go down into a decline of mental state or performance or whatever it is, how can you pivot what you experience into something worthwhile, right? Whether
Mm.
it's, oh, I need more capital for my business, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing rentals, or, oh, I need to expand into a new location, or, oh, I need hiring, or, oh, we just got dinged a bunch of money by the tax man, or whatever it might be. You're going to come across problems. It's how you deal with them. And Principles, fantastic book. Highly suggest, for sure.
Yeah, I read it. I completely forgot what book it was. I love reading, man. I read a shit ton of books. And I forgot, I think it was Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I think it was that book. Like, it literally, that's the name of it.
I
Like,
know
Not
which
Giving a Fuck.
I know the book. I haven't read it.
Yeah, I think one part, I don't know if I'm right. I think it was that book that talks about like problems, like problems don't go away, they just get better, like from being like,
Sure.
oh, I can't afford rent to now like, okay, like now I need more money to expand. Okay, now I need more money for this. And or oh my
Sure.
God, my problem, I don't know what car to drive now. You get like that, like problems get
Right.
better and better. And I feel like people I feel like people just want to get rid of the problems. And it's like, no, I feel like every level, at least from my experience, and maybe you could talk about this as well, every level that you level up, you break through from, let's say, a financial point, mental point, there's gonna be a next thing to break, like a next obstacle. That's like,
Yeah.
okay, like it might be different, it might be easier, or it might be maybe harder, but maybe you could speak about that, like
Sure.
obstacles, like you hear me, like things that you have faced from different stages in your life as an entrepreneur, from,
Sure.
you definitely had certain things that happened when you first started, right? And then now
Mhm.
when you're financially free, you're in the next level, you're making X amount of money, it's like, okay, now new problems happen and how to face those things and not let people like get discouraged from those things.
Sure. Um, one of my I'm a very musically inclined person. I am diverse with my shit. But one of my recent favorite hip hop artists' name is Larry June, and as funny as this may sound, I do think that it is allegorically important. He says you've got to trust your dope before you can sell it, right? And this is some
Yeah.
experience that he obviously didn't get from the business, well, the legit business world, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that shit, right? Trust in
It's true.
yourself. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you got to be your biggest fan. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? If you start ragging on yourself, like, that's bad news bears, right? You can get
How do you
down in the
practice that
dumps.
though?
Well, I think that
Because like
recognizing
like
it,
I'm sorry, coach, but like a lot of people will be like post those posts on Instagram, cliche posts, and yeah, it works. But like for somebody that doesn't really have the mental state of like, yeah, believe in yourself, anything you can do, you show, but it's like you definitely have to practice some habits, right? Or anything, because like, let's say, I mean, for us, for yourself, you're a very open-minded guy, you're very intellectual, so it's like, okay, I could do that easily. But for somebody that, let's say, is going through the trenches, right? And they're like, yo, you gotta tell them like, yo, believe in yourself, things like that. Is there any habits or anything? Like, what's some advice that you help them
yeah,
with that, with things like that?
100. I got you. This is easy.
Love it, man. Love it.
There is a mirror in front of you if you choose it to be there. I'm not getting on
Okay.
some psychological hippie bullshit. I'm about
No,
that
man.
life, but I
Yeah.
believe
I'm
that
not that
anybody
life. Yeah.
could say, if you could really honestly self-reflect in an introspective and honest way, not any preconceived notion, this is who I am, right? Not this is who I've been my whole life, and so this is how I have to think about fucking everything. Like, really
Mhm.
reflect on yourself and know what you're doing well. Do give yourself a hug if you're doing well. Self-love is massive. Treat yourself well. But at the end of the day, know when you need to adjust things and fix things,
Yeah.
and know if you're responsible, or if there's a way that you could influence the outcome in a way, even if you're not responsible. Is there a way that you can make it better by putting in more work or doing something differently or being honest? You know what I mean? Put up
Yeah.
the mirror, like, really just look at yourself, right? So many people are terrified of that mirror. And whether they, I talk to people all the time, like,
I'm
guys, I
guilty.
get
I'm guilty.
wild. Well, right. But like, I'm one kid, for example, I've talked to in the past few weeks. He we know in trading, there's a big technical aspect. And I think a lot of people talk about this big psychological aspect as well. And I think that there is one. So I say to the kid, all right, so where are you at with trading? Because he needs some help, right? We're doing some teaching. And he's like, well, I'm like bulletproof, but technically I'm just not. And I was like, I don't think that's possible. I don't think that it's possible that you're psychologically bulletproof if you're still struggling to, you know what I mean? Like everything's clicking from a technical level, but you can't fire those pieces together. Like that's being dishonest with yourself just right off the bat. When I heard that, I was like, oh, you don't have a mirror. Like, got it. Easy. No problem. Like, all right, let's talk to you about looking this way, right? Instead of that way. And that's huge, but being honest with yourself and being reflective, like that can move you through whatever it is that you face, right? The next thing I think as well is leaning on the people around you. If you have people that have gone through something like that, or even if it's in a completely unrelated industry, talk to people, right? Sharing experiences, saying, hey man, like this went really, really well. Could I have done it better? Or like, how would you have handled this situation if it didn't go well? Or, hey, I'm dealing with this, like, what's your perspective on it? It's all perspective, right? Like, so get some. If you don't have some, get some. And if that's from somebody else or multiple other people or reading books or whatever, just like be open, be introspective and reflective. And then when you do look for people that can help you and limit the people that hurt you, right?
Those are some gems, man. Do you think, and I say this because I'm like I told you, I'm guilty myself. I remember a conversation we had just like a year ago when I was like, kind of my lowest.
You had some shit going on.
Yeah, you sparked me. I'm like, I know we don't talk every single day, but it's like, bro, that little times that we did talk and you came to my mind and everything, you gave me a lot of gems. Like you might have not seen it, but if you would have seen it behind the door, it changed my life, bro. You, Carter, everybody, like you guys changed my life. And one thing is when I looked, that same thing that you just talked about, like looking yourself in the mirror. When I did that, I was like, holy shit, like I need to be honest. I need to stop making excuses. I need to, like just basically letting it all out. And when I did that, I felt such a relief. And I was like, all right, let's get back to work and let's do it now, with pure, good intention. It was always good intention, but it was like pure, like, okay, let me just cut all the bullshit. And I feel like, do you think like people nowadays with Instagram, with social media, certain things, these upcoming people that are coming up now, you feel me? It's like, I think they struggle with that because a lot of people don't like to admit that they're wrong. Well, a lot of people don't like to be held accountable.
I agree. I totally agree with you. I mean, I think that this is such a awful comparison culture that's being created. Like, listen, a 10, in the attractive opposite sex or whatever today versus 98, 99, 2000, 2004 pre-Facebook.
Big difference.
Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I feel so sorry for men and women who compare themselves against social media, but I think innately that machine is always going to have that happen, right?
It's kind of like a blessing and a curse, though, because if you know how to use it business-wise, you're winning. You're winning.
There's always going to be people that can extort that, but I don't think that in not to pivot away from it, I don't think that that's like super beneficial and outweighs the negative of people feeling a certain way that they have to be, or they have to look, or they have to achieve, or they can only share their success and not their failure. It's okay to be vulnerable with yourself or with other people. Like, people learn from that, you know what I mean? And I appreciate when people do that. Failure happens, and that's good. Failure is good. It's how you pivot, right? Yeah,
bro. Because, bro, like nowadays in the world that we're living right now, especially entrepreneurship, especially with this whole pandemic, kind of like forced a lot of people to work from home and start to realize like, yo, let me see if I can open my own business. I don't have to go to work. Let me see what happens.
Right. Side money, Etsy hustle, whatever.
Yeah, like the government printing money, like is a fucking random printer and shit, giving money to everybody. Everybody's having money now, so it's like, okay, let me start something. And I feel like they're starting to realize, like, damn, this entrepreneur shit is, like kind of tough. And, but like, since we were forced to get along on lockdown and a lot of people getting stimulus and, you get me money from the PPP loans and stuff like that. And now it's like that financial literacy, I think, is what people lack,
yeah, for sure.
I feel like there's like a lot of things that people are starting to like. I feel like not I don't say a trend, but a lot of people are starting to realize, okay, entrepreneurship is a real thing, and they're trying to dive into this world, you know. So what has like business and like you say trading, business and trading taught you about being a boss, you know, and where the people might not know what it comes to being an entrepreneur?
Not to be
I know
too
I know it's like
explicit, but
overall, yeah.
no, I know, no. I mean, my short answer is not very nice. So I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but don't be a
It's
bitch.
fine, bro. No. Like, if people get offended, they're not meant for this,
They
you
shouldn't
know?
watch the show.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not meant for this. Just, I want the raw truth, man.
Just kidding. Love you. Don't be a bitch. Like, sack up. And I'm not trying to be some misogynistic dude. I
Oh, no,
think the
absolutely
female
not.
genitalia is honestly stronger than ours. So maybe you need to pussy up, but whatever it is, right? Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Just fucking, you need to do things and not be afraid to fuck up. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But like, if you do something, love it. If you do something, like, I don't need to sit here this morning and wake up and watch my charts. You know, I wake up at fucking 2:15 in the morning every single day. I immediately go and work out for an hour, and then I start my day at 3:15, 3:30. I trade for 3 to 4 hours. Like, that's crazy to normal
Yeah,
people standards, right? But I
absolutely.
do it because I enjoy doing it. If you enjoy doing something so much that you think you could make money from it, fucking try it. You're never going to know until you jump in, right? You can't get wet if you don't get in the water. Like,
Absolutely.
go, you know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of one thing that I've learned through all this is I wish that I didn't hesitate ever. Fucking
Yeah,
fire it. You know what I mean? Like, and if it doesn't work and it doesn't stick, then don't risk so much on that idea that you're going to blow it all. If you're doing
yeah,
that, if you're risking every single thing that you have, let me give you an example. You work at fucking Wendy's
yeah.
and you've been saving up money and you want to start a small business, whatever it is, right? If starting up the small business takes all of your savings out, get more savings and then use
Okay.
that amount and don't make yourself uncomfortable, right? That's one situation where I wouldn't say fire it right away. But if it's within your means and it's something like, oh, I need to pay for this Etsy store so I can list my drawings,
Just fucking do it.
do it, right? Like, if there's a low barrier for entry and you can figure out if that's something that works for you, like, don't hesitate. I wish I never did. On certain things, like, for example, crypto investment. There's a few
Yeah.
things that I was talking about really early on that I wish I would have invested. Ethereum, for example. Like,
Yeah.
I just got a call last month from somebody that I knew from a long time ago, and he was like, dude, good call on Ethereum. And I was like, oh man, like, did you listen? You know, did you buy any? He's like, yeah, a little bit, not as much as I wanted to, but I just wanted to call you and let you know, like, good call. You had
Good
the
call. Yeah.
long term on it. And I was like, bro, his name's Chase. And I was like, dude, I didn't
In my
send it.
ending.
I didn't send it at that point, and I really wish I would have, you know.
Yeah. Oh my
But be
God.
be
Yeah.
okay with that. Be okay with the FOMO. That's another thing about social media, right? Is like, all these people, we live in a glass house on social media. Everybody
Yeah.
can see every single thing. It's so fragile, every
It
little
is.
moving aspect of this thing, because it's so publicized, right? Um,
Mhm.
if you feel that way, like, remove yourself from that shit. Stop posting your shit. Like, grind in silence. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Nobody is
No
going
one's
to
forcing
appreciate
you.
the process, though. Nobody's really going to appreciate the process the way that you do. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to see the results and the success. Share that along the way so people who are interested can learn with you, but don't expect a lot back. You know what I mean? Don't do it
Exactly.
for them. Do it for you. If you're doing it for them, you're fucking up already. Do something that
You
you like,
lost.
right? Like what you do. You know, if you're, I don't know, like, grinding out something and you don't really love it, you're just doing it because, you know, your friend needs help or something, like, that's great. Help them grow their business in a way that you're no longer necessary,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, figure out different solutions. If you don't love what you're doing, still incorporate yourself and try and take benefit from it, because you put that work in, if you can. But, you know, don't do what you don't love. Like, don't
Do
hesitate,
do
don't do what you don't love, and don't be afraid to fail.
Awesome. Basically, do what you like and like what you do.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
just get
Like
to
this is a
the
hobby from trading for me, for like the technical analysis side of things. I say this to people all the time. I would do this if I didn't get paid a dime because
yeah,
I enjoy analyzing probabilities and the way that I do what I do. It's very precise, it's very systematic, and I like to see when it works and when it doesn't and how I can improve essentially predicting the future,
yeah.
right?
Kind of like
Like,
scientists slash experiments, you know, where
right,
it's like, okay, like, let me figure this out.
right. It all comes back to your why though, right? Why are you
Mhm.
doing what you're doing? If you can honestly say that, like, I love what I do and it helps other people, then I think that's a good thing. Have you ever heard of the concept? I'm going to probably butcher this pronunciation. I'm sorry if you're Japanese and listening to this.
Uh-huh.
Ikigai, Ikigai.
Ikigai.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
It's
if I'm
like
familiar with
it's
that.
a bunch of circles. It's a Venn diagram, multiple circles all the way around. And
Okay.
it's about, I think it's 6 circles, and it's about like keeping and maintaining balance in different aspects of your life. But the idea is that when all of those things are sort of in a harmonious state, whether it's enjoying what you're doing and being disciplined and eating and sleeping well, whatever those things are, right? Those circles, when they all meet up, that's the perfect state of operation. That's where you're operating the best, right? Like, I think that you need to understand what all your spheres of influence are as an entrepreneur and say, okay, how uncomfortable am I willing to be? How much am I willing to put into it? What's realistic and what are my goals? And if you take those things, you can kind of find that target in the middle of it, right? This is how I should
Yeah.
approach this thing. This is what I want to accomplish, whatever it is. And if you note that one side, let's just say, for example, I don't have enough capital to start this business. Well, now you know what you need to work on, right? Focus. Or I'm not disciplined enough and I'm not seeing the results I want. Now you know what you need to go focus on. Like, create that thumbnail for yourself and work on those yourself categorically, honestly, you'll see some success, I think.
It's kind of like an accountability board, basically, you know, where you write
Yeah.
down those
Yeah.
things that you have, and then it's like the things you're lacking on is all right. Let me put this in because this is what I need to work on, man. That's huge, man. I'm actually starting implementing that. I'm actually what's the thing called? I can write it down real quick.
Ikigai.
IKY
Hold on.
EKI.
Hold on.
EKI. Chinese.
I'm looking it right now.
Oh,
Ikigai.
IGAI. That's all
Yeah.
Ikigai. Oh, I see it now. Damn, this is crazy. What you love, passion, mission.
It's a Japanese concept that combines the ideas of life and benefit. So
Mhm.
this is via Google for all of you. These terms mean that which gives your life worth, meaning, or purpose, right? Why you do what you do. What's your why? Like, it all comes back to what's your why, and that should determine your how, all right? Like, your means, how you do something, should meet your end, your goal, right? How you approach something should be in line with what you want to happen, because what will happen is a result of how you do things, right? It all comes back to discipline and your why, and yeah, your ikigai.
Ikigai, awesome, man. That's gems right there, man. I didn't know about this. Now I'm gonna dig deep on this, man. Definitely do this. Appreciate you for those gems, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. And as a result of being an entrepreneur, because I know you learn a lot of lessons on business, learn a lot of lessons on how to run it, you know, how to be profitable, how to manage people, how to manage money, things like that. But what's like lessons that you have learned in life as a result of being an entrepreneur? You know, how your mindset changed, habits, perhaps, you know, things like that.
Um, well, I think, being, whether you're a solopreneur or whether you're part of a team,
Yeah.
you are your accountability system, right? And
Mhm.
that goes for everything. For me personally, it was like my own health, my sleep, the grind. It's okay to send it and really give something your all. But, if you're getting 3 hours of sleep a night, that's not healthy. If
Yes.
you're,
Big
whatever it
on
is,
that.
like, I don't know, we have a time zone difference, Gian and I, so he can do nighttime schedule, but like, I've tried it and I can't do it over here. I feel like a
Yeah.
vampire. I get depressed.
Yeah.
I'm in Seattle. It's wet. It's dark. It's like, it's already bad. But I can't do that. And it was unhealthy for me to try and hold that for a long time. And trade the London session, the night session. So I wake up early in the morning. I had to adjust myself, right? But something that I've learned from business in life is like, be patient and care for yourself. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, none of your projects, none of your machines, none of your ideas are going to work if you don't. Right. And I don't mean like put in the work. I mean like actually function. Like if you aren't functioning well and you're not healthy, like you're not gonna see the results that you want in anything. First of all,
big, man.
And then I think the other thing that business and building businesses has taught me is like take risks. Like ask questions, whether that risk is seeming like you're going to be, ask some dumb question to somebody, that's a risk.
Yeah.
Whether it's starting that business, that's a risk. Whether it's even just sharing that picture of the art that you did last week, that's a risk, right? But like, don't be afraid of risk. Be smart and don't do anything that's going to be detrimental to yourself. I'm not saying like, oh, I want to get 1 billion YouTube videos, somebody will jump off this 200-foot bridge with no parachute type thing. Don't go do some dumb shit, but within reason, don't be afraid of risk and send it.
Got you. That's big, man. That's big, man. Because especially talking about the health wise, right? Like I was big. I think you remember when you came to Miami that one time and we linked up for the summer jam. I don't know if you remember. I had a nosebleed and I had to go to the hospital in the middle of the summer jam.
Yeah.
Right? At
you
that
disappeared.
Time, bro, yeah, bro. It was random nosebleeds, and I used to get that when I was a little kid, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna brush this off. But it just won't stop coming now to a point that I was like, all right, bro, guys, I'm getting lightheaded. You guys need to take me to the hospital. I didn't want to freak out because I'm going to freak everybody out and there's blood everywhere, So then when that happened.
And this like nice ass Airbnb, for frame of reference of everybody, this is Jim bleeding out in a white marble countertop.
White marble counter.
Anyways,
red, it's like Halloween. Bro, it was the worst. I lost a lot of blood that day, man. But
you just disappeared. I didn't even see it. Sorry.
So So I left fast because I told people, I was like, yo, you guys gotta take me now before like I pass out. Like honestly, and then you guys.
How did that inform you? Like, how did you move on from that? What did it tell you?
So when I was younger, that used to happen to me a lot, but then I got cauterized right here, so it stopped coming. So then when I would get hit with the ball, whatever, it will bleed, but it will be like a normal bleed, right? But at that point, I was just literally talking to Carter and his wife. And I don't know where I'm like, damn, was there a booger? Like, like I thought I had a runny nose. And then I'm like, oh, snap. And I was wearing white and everything. I was like, fuck, here we go. So since I was already used to it, I was like, okay, it's going to go away. But then I started seeing like, bro, and then I was getting like clots and spitting, it was disgusting, whatever, right?
Yeah.
What I realized going to the hospital, or when I got to the hospital, I was like, yo, I need to stop smoking excessively. I need to stop drinking excessively because at that time, I remember I was going through a lot of things. I was eating fast food like crazy because whatever, like that's what I wanted to do. I was getting no sleep because I used to trade London and New York at the same time. I was in the process of trying to become a successful trader,
Well, so you're highlighting something really important, right? This misconception that that's what it takes.
Exactly. I learned the hard way, man, because some people
move smart, right?
Exactly. So when that happened, I was like, okay, like this entrepreneur, it kind of made sense. Like I was like, it kind of made me like, you know what? I don't care about training anymore right now. I don't care about making money right now. I need to worry about my health. Let's focus on that. Let's go to the gym now and start getting healthy. When I did that, it sparked such a like mind-opening experience that I was like, okay, if I don't take care of this is not gonna work. And if this works and I'm about to die, I can't take that money to the grave. So it's like, what am I doing it for? Exactly. And then also, I'm young, bro. I'm turning 25 in a few days, in like 2 weeks. At that time, that was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So I was like 21, I think it was 21, 22.
Yeah.
I like, for me to have those type of things, for me, like having lack of sleep, it's not healthy. I'm making my body go through shit, and if I keep doing that, I'm not gonna last to see.
Dude, when I was running the cannabis shop, the retail shop, I think in its heyday, we had a lot of seasonal increase in business, but during the busiest part of it, probably about 8 or 9 months straight, I was working 12 to 15 hours a day every single day, like minimum. But like there was certain weeks where I legit put in like 100-hour weeks. And to the point where like I got an ulcer. Like I got like some shit in my stomach that was bad. Like I got like old dude problems because I was stressed out. I was over applying. I was like, lack of sleep. Yeah, whatever it was. Like, and you can burn the candle at both ends, but you need to be, as an entrepreneur, you need to be uniquely aware of the size of that candle, because if that candle runs out, you
We're
are
fucked.
fucked.
Yeah.
Like, so don't do it. Cause it's like you said, you know, you can build this empire, but if you're about to die, like who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like pointless at this point, you know. It made me
Yeah.
open up my eyes a lot because I was like very unhealthy, man. I was, if I
Do
show
you
you videos, I'll
think,
pull up video, I was a little fat.
do you
But
think, and me too, bro, I
yeah.
lost weight too. We're both looking good. Do you think that that informed how you look at other situations? Like, do you think that you could experience things in something as civilian or mundane as your own personal health, and that shapes how you have done other things, like, you know what I mean, how
Absolutely,
you approach things,
absolutely.
or
Yes, big time. And what that taught me specifically was balance. I became so
mm,
obsessively on trading entrepreneurship that I didn't lose. I lost contact with parents, with my brother. It
yep,
was just that. And it was okay. I could start seeing some money and so on. And it was like, bro, what the hell? So what influenced and what helped me, what changed every perspective in anything I do is have a balance. I'm now in a relationship and now I learn to have a balance with that. You know, I'm reconnecting with my parents and my brothers, have a balance with that.
sure,
I'm
work
trading, I'm
life,
doing
yeah,
podcasts now, you know, so that's one thing definitely helped me a lot because at that time I was just so obsessively with this misconception of like I'll sleep when I'm only broke, like broke people don't sleep. I'll sleep when I'm rich, no, like things like that. And I'm here like when that happened, I guess
well,
that wasn't a traumatic experience, but it was like, bro, that was close to being traumatic. So I was like, let me not get to the point where like something severe happens for me to realize like, hey, look, you need to have a balance and take care of this. So definitely helped a lot
you're
in all that, you know.
you're you're younger than me. I'm just turned 30. But
Oh,
you're
nice.
old enough. I am fucking old. I don't look it, but I am. I got so many gray hairs. It's ridiculous.
You look younger, man.
Here's a pro tip, young entrepreneurs. Embrace the gray. It's fucking coming, and you're
Yeah.
gonna get gray hairs. It's gonna happen. Trust. Yeah. Anyways, so I think I think that, you know, kind of to not pivot too much, I think that your health and yourself, and this all goes back to the mirror, right? If you
Yeah.
can really honestly look at yourself and say, what I'm doing is the best way that I can be doing it, then it's really about that time and that application. But, you know, I think social media, like, I didn't grow up with it, quote unquote. Like, we are from a time and generation where technology was blossoming and
Yeah.
becoming, right. I remember my grandma, I was like 9 years old, and my grandma brought me the first Mortal Kombat video game, and that was before there was an M rating on video games. That was the
Okay.
game that made the mature rating, because like you were fucking Sub-Zero and you freeze
Yeah.
some dude and then rip his spine out of his back, and there's like
Yeah.
8-year-olds playing this in the dark, right? Like, we were part of the blossoming of technology. I think that our perspective on its influence on us is different than somebody who was just born and they're like 2 years old and they're an iPad master playing Fruit Ninja.
Fucking
You know what I
friends,
mean? Right? Like, these people are so, this is normal. And it's not normal. It's not
no.
normal to live your life based on some principles that you read on TikTok, right? Like,
Yeah.
no
Exactly.
sleep and only the weak sleep and grind it until you get it. It's
Yes.
like, these are all
Yeah.
cliches. Don't live your life through cliches. Live your life through experience, right? And lean on people that have gone through it, because I'll be honest with you, most of those people that are posting that shit haven't gone through it.
I don't know.
They're looking for a
I don't know.
fast way around it. They don't want to go through it, right? If you want to go
Exactly.
around it, this ain't for you. But if you want to go
There's
through
no
it,
shortcuts.
yeah, if you want to go through it, like, get in. You can know when to catch a shortcut and know when to optimize or try and do something quicker. But if it means that you sacrifice the quality of your project along the way, don't do it. Like,
Yeah. It's
it's
not
not
worth it.
worth it, right?
Hmm.
Because
No, yeah.
it's going to expose a weak point in you or your project or your business or whatever, right? If you
Yes.
don't do everything intentionally, then I think that you're relying on luck.
Yeah. And that's something you don't want to do when it comes to entrepreneur. You gotta be ready. You gotta have everything calculated and just give it a try, man, and do it the right way, man. Just so many experiences that I had, I'm sure you had, that like taught us a lot. And then it comes to back to like, okay, like I wish I would have known this when I was younger, but I'm glad I went through those experiences and I'm positioned, and the more we grow, positioned enough to bless others that are upcoming, you know. So
What
appreciate
was
for all
your
of that,
first
man.
experience as a entrepreneur in this world? Like, what was the first, if you had to think back on it right now, right? What was
I know
that first
exactly
time? Was it Okay, go.
I know exactly what it was. I know exactly, I don't know the date or the time, but I know exactly the moment. It was when I read the book. No, I was sitting at Denny's with my boys and we're like, yo, like, I'm tired of this shit, bro. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, I
How old are you?
wanna.
Do you think?
I was 18.
Okay.
I was 18. Yeah, I was gone. I went through a breakup. I lost a really good paying job. My life was in shit. Or what I thought it was shit. Even though I was only 18.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck am I doing in my life? Whatever. And then I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was the first book I ever read. I never liked reading at all. I had intensive reading when I was in high school. People thought I couldn't fucking read it, whatever, right? They label you in high school and shit like that. I was like, no, I know how to read. I just don't like reading Macbeth and Shakespeare. So I read that book that fit my interest, and I'm like, okay, talked about entrepreneurship, open my mind, and that's when I was like, okay, what can I do now, or what business can I get into, right? Because the main thing is, okay, you know about it, but now it's like, what? Now is the what? You get me? Like, what is it you're gonna do now? I'm like, okay. At that time, I was like going to the gym really heavy, I think I was weighing like 170, 180, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to the gym really heavy, and like, okay, I like the gym. Let me go something that I'm passionate about. I didn't want to be personal trainer or that. I was like, okay, I don't want to do all that, But I did encounter like I think it was eBay and things like that, like those type of stores, so I could do like drop shipping.
Online
And then
sales. Sure.
I bump into Alibaba. I don't know if you know Alibaba.
Fuck yeah.
And I bought like, I think I made an investment with like $500, which was like a whole 2 weeks paycheck for me back then, right?
That's a big risk.
Exactly, but I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, I had to do it. I'm the type of person that is like, okay, I need that
Try it.
experience.
Yeah.
Exactly, try it out. I bought
Fuck
boxes, bro. I still this day I still have those boxes at my mom's house when I was thinking about mom of gym bottles, and I created my own logo and everything, and I bought like 1,000 of those boxes for like penny to the dollar, right? And they came in shipping, right? And then I didn't know that I had to pay fees and stuff like this, like import export, because they exported from
Yep.
like the ships and stuff like that. So I got smacked with, I totally ended up paying like almost like $700, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Let me try to sell these bottles, right? I'm gonna go to gyms. I'm if you know me, I'm not scared to talk to people. I'll go to you and be like, hey, look, like I'm inside the gym bottle. That's one thing I'm very blessed to have, that I'm not shy. I'm very talkative.
You are not.
I like
I will say that.
yeah. I go to people. I'll be like, hey, look, bro, I have this. You want to buy whatever business skills it is, right? Got rejected a bunch of times from like gyms and everything. Had to walk in here with big box and everything. And I'll be honest, the only sales that I made was from friends and families to support the business. And that really like threw me off. I was like, okay, I'm fucked now, because now I'm not gonna make my money back.
That was your first taste of getting kicked in the teeth, huh?
That was my first like left hook to the jaw, and I was like, okay, cool, I love it. And at that point, I was watching Gary Vee a lot, when he was like essentially said, don't be a bitch, keep going, learn the failures. And that's when I really sat down and I was like, all right, let's do it again.
Sure.
At that point, fidget spinners were on point. Like fidget spinners were trending.
So that was a huge thing.
I was like, let me try this. Okay. I spent $100, right? I spent $100 and I got a bunch of fidget spinners with light, right? I went to Bayside, which is downtown Miami, right? And I sold them. I literally stand there. I grabbed my iPhone. I put those little notes, and I was like selling fidget spinners. Bro, I sold the whole thing. I made $700. I was like, what? That was the big taste of like, all right, here's a little taste from taking that punch. Here's a little taste. I tried to do it again, but before I made that purchase again, the fidget spinners went out of the trend died down. So I was like, I'm not gonna do it no more. But that alone opened up my mind to be like, it's possible. Like I did it once, I failed, I did it again, it worked. Now what can I do? And that was the very first experience from, I was like, I cannot work. Like I literally made what I make in 2 weeks in one day, and I was like, okay, if I could figure this out to learn this in a consistent basis, I will be okay. But that was my first experience as entrepreneur, man. And I remember exactly the day, what happened. Everybody laughed at me. It's crazy.
It's funny. It's funny that you still have the boxes of that product. You know what I mean?
How did my mom's house, bro? I have a shit ton of boxes. I'm like, mom, leave it there, because I'm gonna use that probably for inspiration in the future. Or
right. Let me get one. I need a new shaker bottle.
I got you, yo. And it's such a dope shaker bottle, bro. Like it comes with a little ball. It comes with a thing that you take up for the powder. One for supplements.
You know what I love is that I love that you still stand behind it. Like this highlights an important part for all of you, right? If you do something and you can stand behind it, like it doesn't matter if you fail. Somebody else might not receive it, but it doesn't make you a failure. right?
Yeah,
Like as long
exactly.
as you fucking tried, you learn something. At that point in time, that was a big amount of change for Gion, but it
Oh
was a
yeah,
risk that he took and he was willing to take. You know what I mean? Like he took that risk. And then I respect that because you tried. You know, you gave it your all.
appreciate
But
that.
then you figured out something way simpler, way faster
Yeah,
that made all that money back, right?
exactly.
Keep trying, see what sticks,
Always, because
right?
you never really know. You never really know until you try. And yes, if you feel just like trading, you place that trade, you lost. Okay, cool. Play the next one. Don't get hold back. In business,
Sure.
you tried it, didn't work. Okay, cool. What's the next thing? I realized when I was dwelling, because I dwelled for like, I'm not gonna lie, when I realized I wasn't making any money for a whole week, I was like, damn, I'm an idiot. You know, like those negative thoughts are kicking. But then I come from a Hispanic family and they're very like tough on me, you know. So I was like, I can't cry, I can't do none of this shit. Let's go. What's next? And I thank my parents. That's one of the main things. I thank my parents for that because they never taught me about entrepreneurship, you know.
Yep.
So it was like it was those things that was like, all right, I failed, let's do it again. And it helped me in the long term because then the
Sure.
Forex journey came and that's another story. But the Forex journey
Yeah.
came and there's a bunch of more failures that made the bottle business feel like a little scratch. You get me?
Yeah.
But it
Yep.
definitely shaped. Definitely shaped me. But yeah, man, that was my first business, man. And yeah, from there now I have long-term goals, which is a question I wanted to ask you now. From all the experience that you have, and where you at right now, you know, obviously you're a person that always likes to progress and keep on going and be a better version of yourself, business and in life in general. What
Sure.
is the long term for you now? Speaking now, currently. You don't
You
have to get too explicit
know,
if you don't want to. You know?
I honestly, it's just to be happy. I just want to continue to really enjoy life. At this point, like I want to continue to grow my assets. And I have a few projects in mind, but it's nothing profound. I just want to kind of diversify ultimately and continue to invest. And I'm thinking about trying to create a little bit more passive income through real estate. But at this point, really, it's just kind of I have my base down, and I can kind of start to say, okay, I want to expand a little bit here. I want to expand a little bit here, there, and
Diversify.
grow that, right. And once you build the base, then you can start to expand, right? But like you got to
Yes,
build your base really well
of
to
course.
jump. I feel like I'm kind of at that point, where I don't want to say that I'm on cruise control or that life's easier, but it's paid off now. And I just like, I want to be happy and healthy and enjoy life. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty much off of social media at this point. I have a little YouTube series where I put my trading analysis up, and that's really my only interaction with the world. I can go to Montana for 2 weeks and live in the woods if I want to.
Yeah,
And you know what I mean? I can just go if that's what I want to go do. If I want to go fish for 4 days and not do anything, I can go do that or
it's a
whatever it
freedom
is.
though.
Yeah, exactly. I want to enjoy life, right? That's my personal life goal. In terms of business, I'm still investing in things actively, and I'm just kind of waiting. For those of you that are new to investing, the market moves in cycles, any market, whether it's the stock
Yes,
market or whatever. And if everything is, you hear, oh, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, all these things you might want to invest in, they're really high, they're at all-time highs. That's not when you buy, right? You
no,
buy
stay
when
away
things go
from.
on sale. I'm waiting for things to go on sale, right?
Yes,
So like I'm just kind of staying liquid so I can continue to invest in those things and try and get some income,
okay.
dividend income through that. Myself, I'm now managing some of my own portfolio. I have somebody else that manages at a mutual fund portfolio. Like I'm diversifying, right? And that's where
Okay.
I'm at. I'm expanding the base around.
Yes, very huge key you said there, man. Because a lot of people want to get there already. It's like, oh, I want to do this, do this, this. Like, no, start your base, do your foundation, and once you have a solid foundation, you're ready. Just work there. You just said you're ready to jump.
Well,
Once you
and
make
to be
that jump, it'll be
clear,
a lot.
the
Yeah.
base is an income producing thing or things. When we say base, we mean,
Yeah.
do you have things putting cheddar in your pocket? And
Yes.
if you do, and then you say, okay, here's my cost of living, here's what I'm producing as whatever my business is, my income, right? As long as this is like double or triple how much it costs for you to live, invest away, right? But
Invest. Yes.
have that base, like build that base so you can start to say, okay, whether it's I'm working overtime to get that extra money to start that Etsy business or whatever it is, right?
Yes.
Build that base, grind that out until you're comfortable, and then expand. Don't try and do it early. It's
Yeah.
just going to leverage yourself. It's
Yeah,
overstretch yourself.
you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot doing that, because then you don't have enough money for your basic needs, and then it's like, damn, I gotta take it from investments, or you just go broke, and that's definitely a huge key, man. Appreciate about that.
Build the base, baby.
Yeah, man. And this is the second to last question. I know this was supposed to be like 30-minute podcast. It came a little longer. I'm sorry, I got
You're gonna
a
edit
lot
it
of
too.
gems.
So
yeah. No, yeah, man. So it'll be nice. But what's advice for upcoming entrepreneurs, like people that are looking to or just started becoming entrepreneurs, and for the people that have been in the game for a minute but perhaps hit a plateau, and want to
Sure.
just ready to break to the next level?
I think for me, and this is a little redundant, but like, have the mirror. Visit the mirror. If you are at a plateau and you feel like, you're kind of at a spot where you're stagnant or you're not seeing that continued growth in your curve of performance, figure out why. I bet you're the issue. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that in an honest way.
Yes.
Be reflective and take that time for yourself. We're at a point in the world where everything's polarized. There's so much pulling at every single direction of you all the time, and everything, you're saturated by all the shit around you. Shush it down, right? Be one with you, and be present, be mindful, be aware of what you're doing, and have intention behind those things in everything that you do. If you have to snake somebody, it better be worth it. There's a piece of advice for entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? Be a good person. Don't be a dickhead. Whether it's you have a company that's creating a ton of pollution and you're overtly aware of that, right? Let's just say you have a ton of plastic excess in your products or something like that, and you don't vibe with that, don't do it. You're not going to feel good about it, right? Be honest with yourself. Be really honest with yourself and who you are, and that you gel with what you're doing. Have your means match your ends, right?
Yes.
Have how you do something match your objective. And if you're honest with yourself and you do that, I think that you'll have a faster route. It's still going to have failure, and be open to that. But if you're plateauing, figure out kind of why and get some perspective, like we said, right? Like, go ask somebody else, or not saying change your system. It's just like, sometimes you need a fresh set of eyes. Sometimes you need a break and let your own eyes reset, and you're that set of eyes, right?
Yes.
Just be honest.
Huge key, man. Huge key, man. That's gonna help a lot of people, including myself as well. Man, as I'm doing this interview, man, I'm actually learning a lot from you, man, and I really appreciate from this chance, man, a lot, for real, man.
It's back and forth, right?
Yeah, man. Love it, man. Love it. Time goes like this and everything too. So it's
true.
Nice. And so then this leads me to my last question, man. What were your breakthrough principles to be where you're at now? The main breakthrough principles.
I think that it's really important to take risks, but I think that it's really important to manage your risks and your exposure as well. For me, I had a lot of different candles burning at a lot of different ends, and that got very thin very quick, right? I did too much too fast. Don't rush the process.
Okay.
At the end of the day, if it's going to happen, you're going to make it happen, and it's going to be on that timeline, not on your timeline or what you envision, right? Don't set yourself up for failure by creating false realities. Be patient, be prepared to, kick the coffee table a couple of times, and oh yeah, that hurt, but I'm going to keep moving, right? I think everything that we are surrounded by is constant hits of adrenaline and dopamine and serotonin, and it's conditioning us into this now need mentality, right? And that's not how anybody has operated for the past, hundreds of years. This is unnatural. And to expect that is the natural course of progression, the natural course of growing as an entrepreneur, for example, it's unrealistic, right? Be patient, be willing to put in that time, and stick to your guns. You know what I mean? If there's a million other people doing what you're doing, then set yourself apart. Figure out what it is that makes you or your product or your business that thing, and then just keep going. Like, don't stop. The moment that you stop is the moment that you give up. And that's when you turn into that it is what it is person, right? The person we need to
Yes.
be afraid of.
Yeah. Yes, big time, big time.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. So take a risk, be patient, and just don't stop, man. Those
Don't
are the main
stop.
keys.
Don't,
Those are the
yeah,
main keys.
trust yourself, you know,
Trust
at the end of
yourself,
the day.
all of that, man. And bro, thank you so much for doing this, man. I
Yeah,
personally got a lot of gems from this. And a lot of people are gonna get a lot of gems from this. What I do, I put this on YouTube and then I chop it up on Instagram and post every
sure.
topic in there, so everybody gets to get certain type of gems from certain. Obviously, maybe they don't have time to watch the whole interview, but maybe they could get it on my Instagram, watch chop, and I
Sure.
feel like that's gonna bring a lot of value, man. I really appreciate for you doing this, man. And tell everybody where they can find you, or I know you say you're on social media, but where they can find you,
Honestly,
or any service
don't
that you
find
offer.
me. Go to YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, go to YouTube if you're a trader and you're struggling or you just want to know more. I just provide a free resource. It's on YouTube, youtube.com/c/MightyFine, or just search MightyFine, all one word. That's how you can find me. Otherwise, leave me alone, and just work on yourself, like for real,
Yes,
at the end of the
absolutely.
day, like, because it's not about me. It's about
Yes, absolutely.
you, motherfucker. So make it
Yeah.
happen.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you heard it, guys. That's the brutally honest person you need in your life, man. Not someone's gonna sugarcoat and be like, oh yeah, no, it's like, nah, bro, don't find me. You guys want to know if you guys are interested in trading, go to MightyFine on YouTube, right? And you get all the info there. You guys are good. And you guys, yeah, man, here you go.
And
This
if
is
if
my
you're
book.
not a trader, I wish you honestly, from the bottom of my heart, the best of luck, as long as you put in the effort. Like at the
Gotcha.
end of the day, nut up,
Yes.
right?
Take don't
Good
don't be a
luck.
bitch, and yeah, good luck.
Good
Don't be a
luck.
bitch and take risks, man.
Yeah,
Take action. But thank you man once again for doing this. I won't take no more longer of your time. I appreciate you for doing this long podcast, man, and thank you again for every chance that you brought me into my life, and I really appreciate that, for real.
totally. I'm going out the same way I came in.
Dale, my bro. You have a blessed day. Bye bye.